Assalamualaikum everybody, this is my 86 algorithm video. In this task, I would be taking a question from LeetCode, and our task is to find out whether a string is a valid one or not. So in this string, we would be given only brackets. So these are the conditions to check if it is a valid one or not. So let's look at example number 1. This is a parenthesis. The opening bracket of parenthesis is closed by the same parenthesis bracket. In example number 2, the parenthesis opening is closed by the closing parenthesis. The square bracket opening is closed by a closing square bracket, and the opening of curly bracket is closed by the curly bracket. So example number 2 is also a valid one. However, example number 3 is not a valid one. Why? Because the opening is a parenthesis but it is closed by a square bracket, so it is not a valid string. Now I would like to show you the pseudocode. Okay, now I'm going to be explaining to you the pseudocode. So this is the string that has been given to us, and this is the dictionary that we'll be using in our code. First, we would check whether the length of the string is even or odd. Why is it necessary? For example, if instead of this string we were given this string, the length of this string is 3, which is odd. The length of odd gives us an indication that one of the brackets is not closed. We can see that this bracket has not been closed, so this is not a valid string. So in our code, first we would check whether the length of the string is even or odd. So in our original question, this is the length of the string. The length is 4, so it is even. So we would continue with the code. Next, we would be applying the use of the for loop. For I in range, it would start from 0, it would go till end of the length of the string, and we would use a jump factor of 2. Why a jump factor of 2? Because we would be only comparing the opening brackets with the closing brackets. So in the for loop, we only want the opening brackets to be compared with. So in our for loop iterations, first we would get this opening bracket and then this opening square bracket, right? So in our first iteration, we would see if string I plus 1. What is string I? String I in this case is 0, this opening bracket. We would see if I plus 1, which is this closing parenthesis, is it equivalent to the value of string I? The value of this string of I according to this dictionary is this closing parenthesis. So this closing parenthesis of this dictionary, it is equivalent to the I plus 1. So this means that this opening bracket is closed by this closing parenthesis as shown by here, I plus 1, and this is equivalent to the value of this opening bracket. So this is a valid iteration. Next, we would see string of I plus 1, whether we would check if it is equivalent to the value according to the dictionary. So the next string I plus 1 would be this closing bracket, because we would in the for loop we would be getting the opening square bracket. So string of I plus 1 would be this closing bracket, square bracket, and whether this square bracket is it equivalent to the value of this opening square bracket? Yes, this is equivalent to, so this is also valid. Next, for example, had we gotten another set of brackets, for example, this was the string, the length is 6. In the third iteration, string of I would be this curly bracket. So string of I plus 1 would be this square bracket. I is this curly bracket and I plus 1 would be this square bracket. Whether it is equivalent to the value according to the dictionary. So the value of this curly bracket is this closing curly bracket. So we can see that this is not equivalent to this square closing square bracket is not equivalent to this closing curly bracket, so this is not valid. So had we gotten this string, we would have concluded that this is not a valid string. However, if we did not gotten this string and this was the original string, then we could have concluded that this was a valid string. Now let's make the algorithm on PyCharm. I have made this dictionary. I have named it as dict brackets, and this is the string that has been given to us, opening and closing parenthesis. I would be making use of a flag. Flag is equal to 1, indicating that for now it is a valid string. So for I in range would go from 0 till len of this string. We would use a jump factor of 2. First we would check whether the length of the string is even or odd. If len of string is even, then further we would check if string I plus 1, that is whether the closing brackets that we get, is it equivalent to the value associated with the string of I, and if it is so, then the flag variable would stay as 1, meaning it is a valid string. Else, or we can use elif, if string I plus 1 is not equivalent to dict brackets string I, then we would break out of the for loop. So first we would update the flag variable as 0, and we would immediately break out of the for loop because we have concluded that this is not a valid string. So break, and then in this indentation of if, we check if it is an odd length of string, then we would also break out of the for loop, and we would update the flag variable as 0 because the length of the string is odd. At the end of the for loop, we would check if box equals to 1, we would print it's a valid string, else print it's not a valid string. So when I click play, I did not define box. Oh, sorry. So it's a valid string because this opening bracket is closed by the same set of brackets. And, the next question is, this is our next question, and I click play. This is also a valid string because the brackets are closed by the same set of closing brackets. And if the next question is, this won't be a valid string, so it's not a valid string because this opening parenthesis should have been closed by this bracket, not the square bracket. I hope you liked my video. Please share, like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.